So at our council meeting last Sunday, we scheduled the annual picnic and outdoor worship, and it is not the first Sunday of August like it has been for several years. It is actually August 15th. So make sure that you put that somewhere in your memory bank so that you remember when the picnic will be. Location is the same at Dwayne and Susan's house. And it's always a fun time. If you haven't been to it, I hope you'll be able to come this year. I put directions to Trevin's house in the bulletin, so you hopefully should be able to find it. That exit at Sargent Road from I-94 is kind of different. You exit to a four-way stop, and if you go through the intersection sort of straight, you're not going quite straight, that takes you one way on Ann Arbor Road, and if you make a turn, it takes you the other way on Ann Arbor Road, and you're going to turn and go that way. It's actually pretty easy to find our house, so if you get lost, call me.
That's next Saturday.
It is this coming Saturday, yes.
I can't figure out when you pick August 15th. That weekend, that's their wedding anniversary. So they won't forget it.
Oh, so you'll have a party, and you don't have to plan it. You have to mow the lawn and make sure the bathroom's presentable.
You have the day before.
Other announcements this morning? Who's at the bone tomorrow? Is it Chris Candace? No.
It's good thing going.
Good thing going. I know it was a locally famous band.
Cliff's group.
Yeah. Any other announcements to share with each other?
Oh, sorry. Alibi is playing. It's turned all the way up. I hear it. Just a little bit. The Alibi is playing at two different things. We're playing at the brass. We're playing at the brass rail on the 24th of July. And that's for a fundraiser for Senator Jackson, and it's a cook-off of home pork, is that what it is? A barbecue cook-off of some sort. And that's a lot of fun. It's one price you get to come in, and there's a ton of good food there. And then we're also playing Disney Night on August 18th or 19th. It's a Wednesday, and that's going to be at Cascades, and they're having my great-grandson's birthday parties there, so that'll be fun. But they have characters, and we play Disney music, and it's, again, a lot of fun. You didn't get to do it last year, so. You can hear just a little bit, Kelly.
Any other announcements this morning? We need a guest musician for the 19th of September. You gave me a couple of dates. There's a couple of dates coming up where we will need somebody to fill Mary's shoes. I know, it's going to be tough. I will check with her. September 12th and 19th, and picnic Sunday. Mary will not be with us. So picnic, we usually use either Alibi or recorded music, so that'll be okay one way or the other. And so September 12th and 19th, if anybody wants to be in charge of music on one or both of those Sundays, you could use recorded music and plan it for us if you want. Or you could, if you play an instrument, or if you know someone who plays an instrument that you want to invite, and I will check with Pamela and see if she's interested in doing music one or both of those Sundays. Any other announcements? Mary, would you're going to want the microphone so people online can hear you.
Can I use the microphone?
Okay, you can hear me? So, the prelude I've chosen for this morning is the Battle Hymn of the Republic. And I wanted to say a couple words about it before I played it, because I have mixed feelings about this piece, about the words, because I'm confident that Jesus Christ would want us as human beings made in the image of God to find peaceful ways to settle our differences and not have to go to battle. On the other hand, I can trace back in my own family ancestors people who were willing to sacrifice as far back as the American Revolution, the Civil War, World War II. And we here, sitting here today, enjoy such freedoms as a result of those people being willing to sacrifice. So, this is in memory and honor of our soldiers. Yeah, right.
Good start.
Thank you. Of course, when you put things right in front of your face so you don't forget them, it doesn't guarantee you won't forget them. We have a thank you note from Jill Klein. The prayer shawl is beautiful. I will put it around my shoulders in the evenings and feel your prayers and good wishes holding me up. This journey of grief is a tough one, and I so appreciate your loving support. In my time of loss, you have given me comfort and healing through your kind words and gestures. In his name, Joe Klein. If you can turn to your bulletins now for our call to worship. Let us quiet ourselves and prepare to worship our God. We gather to celebrate our place in the family of God. All of creation speaks of the glory of God. The wind carries praises across the earth. The birds rejoice with their melodies. Even the leaves on the trees dance in joy. Let us lift our voices and join them in proclaiming the wondrous nature of our God. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Our first hymn is number 4 in the hymnal. The hymnal thinks it's joyful, joyful, we adore you, but we know better. It's ode to joy. My little rebellion this morning. Most Holy One, you are our source for all we need: courage, endurance, comfort, peace, inspiration, hope, joy, and all that makes life grand. We are overflowing with gratitude for your extravagant goodness toward us. We thank you and we praise you. Confess that we sometimes let our challenges and disappointments distract us from appreciating your continuous care and unlimited grace. In appreciation, we offer you our adoration and our worship of you. Amen. Our gospel reading this morning comes from Mark chapter 6, verses 1 through 13. Jesus left that place and came to his hometown, and his disciples followed him. On the Sabbath, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astounded. They said, "Where did this man get all this? What is this wisdom that has been given to him? What deeds of power are being done by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary and brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Then Jesus said to them, "Prophets are not without honor except in their hometown and among their own kin and in their own house." And he could do no deed of power there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and cured them. And he was amazed at their unbelief. Then he went about among the villages teaching. He called the 12 and began to send them out by two, and gave them authority over the unclean spirits. He ordered them to take nothing for their journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals and not to put on 2 tunics. He said to them, "Wherever you enter a house, stay there until you leave the place. If any place will not welcome you and they refuse to hear you as you leave, shake off the dust that's on your feet as a testimony against them." So they went out and proclaimed that all should repent. They cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and cured them. This ends our reading of the gospel. Please join me in prayer. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be pleasing to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. There's a very familiar lesson in this reading, worthy of being repeated. Don't take it personally when people don't listen to your wise words. If they didn't even want to listen to Jesus, even though they admitted that his words were far more noteworthy than what they were accustomed to hearing in worship, it's certainly not surprising that people will reject what we have to say. Now, personally, I'm fairly sure that I have excellent understanding of all current events, that I know all there is to know about proper nutrition and the best possible advice to offer on any life situation. But even so, I regularly encounter people who do not want to listen to my advice. Shocking, I know, but it is true. And when that happens, I have choices. I can take it personally, feel insulted or rejected, get hurt or angry, or I can accept it as human nature not to listen to a message that we don't want to hear, or a message from a person we think shouldn't be knowledgeable on that particular subject. And then I can decide whether to continue offering my opinions or keep quiet. Depending on the topic or issue, sometimes giving up on trying to make my point is the best decision. Sometimes the topic is too important to me to allow silence, to let someone close me from being able to speak my conscience. So then I need to find a better way of expressing my views or sharing my wisdom. But I do need to remember their rejection of my message is not the same as me being rejected as a human. And rejection of my message doesn't mean I'm wrong or that what I'm trying to share isn't important. It probably means they aren't ready to entertain a different perspective from the one they hold on the topic. By sharing, I may be planting seeds that will inspire them to think about what I've said, and perhaps in time will help them to see a particular issue through a different lens. The first time that I ever heard about systemic racism, I didn't fully understand the concept, and argued that I was not racist because I was not aware of the ways that my race was benefiting me. The first time that I heard I might be reading scripture from a less accurate perspective, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't ready to immediately grasp the alternative that was being offered. That doesn't mean those first people trying to educate me were wasting their effort. Changing our minds can be a very difficult process. And there are some things that should be very solidly held, like moral and ethical concepts. I don't think it should be easy for someone to convince us it's all right to steal from our parents or to be violent towards our annoying neighbor or to take other unethical or immoral actions. Some things, though, that feel almost absolute can actually be in need of new thinking. For example, when I was a child, it was common knowledge in this country that Russia and China were bad. Bad, bad, bad. You don't want anything to do with Russia, you don't want anything to do with China. But then we created peace treaties and our nations formed very special ally relationships, and we were supposed to be accepting of those countries after years of distrust. Our attitudes didn't shift instantaneously, but we learned over time to change our thinking. Jesus, fortunately, did not give up teaching. He just moved on to a more receptive crowd to share his message of God's love for all people. The second point in our reading is the disciples being sent out to expand the reach of the ministry with their own teaching and healing activities. Jesus sent them into the surrounding communities in faith. Jesus sent them in his own faith, expecting them to go out in their faith. He trusted them to be able to do the work he was doing and challenged them to trust also when he told them not to take provisions with them. Go share the good news and perform healings. Let the people you encounter take care of your needs. Do your good deeds with trust and faith that you will, in fact, do good. Believe you are capable and believe that there will be positive results. Worry less, live confidently, trusting that you can accomplish the tasks given you. Then he told them, if they were rejected, shake the dust from their feet, and they left that place. I think I've been reading this wrong my whole life. Yes, he said it was as a testimony against them, but I don't think it was so much as an insult toward them as it was a way of letting go of their rejection. Don't carry their attitude with you as you travel to the next opportunity to do your work. The rejection of the message and the healing is on them. It is not your burden to carry. Shake it off and move on. Let it go. Forget about it. Don't let it get in the way of the work you're being called to do. The thing is, each of us is only responsible for ourselves and our own reactions or responses to things. We can't control others. So why do we let their acceptance or rejection have power over us? If we're trying to do good, trying to be helpful, trying to be part of the community of God, and someone doesn't appreciate us, that's their burden, not ours. My job is to monitor my attitudes and to do my best to listen to the guidance of the Spirit as I go about my life. If I've done my best, the reception for my efforts is not my responsibility. So, if that reception isn't what I was hoping for, I can follow the directions Jesus gave his disciples and shake it off. Don't carry that negative around with me. Certainly don't pack it in my bag so it's with me for the rest of my life's journey. That doesn't mean I ignore constructive comments or criticisms. It means I don't allow unjustified remarks to weigh me down and limit my life. The testimony shaking off the dust gives isn't, those people are such stupid jerks. the testimony is, I will not be diminished by your reactions to me. You have no power to harm me or to deter me in my work. The fact that this is a new understanding for me is evidence of my earlier point. Sometimes we plant seeds that need to germinate before an idea is accepted. All my life, I've read this as a direct reflection on the people who rejected the disciples, rather than seeing it as a way of caring for myself. The same words have been on the page every time I've read it. This time, I was able to see a different perspective with an entirely different message. When we think we know, we are difficult to reach and teach. I got both a very practical and useful life lesson and a reminder to be teachable this week. And it has made me busy going through my satchel of perceived slights, shaking off a lot of dust from things that I never should have been carrying with me in the first place. So I invite you to think about the burdens you are prone to carry that you should be leaving in the dust. If shaking dust off your feet isn't the right image for you, how about young athletes who are told when they get a minor injury or make a mistake, shake it off. Don't let that discomfort or that mistake hinder your performance moving forward. Or Dwayne and Susan's huge dog came to mind, and it going in the pond and coming out and shaking off all the excess weight of all that water that was trapped in its fur. Be that big dog and shake all of the disappointments off. Don't carry them with you. My dad used to tell kids to go outside and play so they could blow the stink off. Of course, if they played hard, they got real stink, but in the process of playing outdoors, they got rid of stinky moods and stinky attitudes. Instinctively, we know that quiet time, walking, or even sitting in nature helps us to let go of some unpleasant effects of our day. All of us, at various times, need to remember to shake the dust off our feet and walk away from negativity. May we be open to the Spirit when it is urging us to move on and leave our accumulated dirt behind. Amen. Mary, would you play for us, please?
angels over there.
That was beautiful. Thank you. We get to share our joys and our concerns with each other. I would ask that you continue to pray for my daughter's father, Rick. His recovery is challenging, and he's having a hard time making himself try to eat, which is making his recovery more challenging. The less you eat, the weaker you get. The weaker you get, the harder everything becomes. So please pray for Rick and for Emily and Matt and the boys as they try to be encouragers to him. Barb Vincent Kidder will be having chemotherapy again. I believe it's 6 months, and I think it starts next week. Yeah, the 12th. So she has asked for us to continue to be praying for her in that process. How about the rest of you? Diane Hines' family will be coming together. Some of them are here now, some are arriving in the next few days for a celebration of life for her sister Jean, who died a few months ago. Diane is excited to have family together and to finally be able to gather for that recognition of her sister. Please be thinking of them and praying for them that this will be all that they needed to be. Nobody else? Quiet group today. Kelly?
Well, I'll say something. We got a chance to visit with our granddaughter last night. That was a nice joy. We didn't expect to. And we went over their house for a short time. So this is joy. I would go again.
So fill us in. What's she doing? How old is she? What's she up to?
She's not quite, she's 5 months old. How's she doing?
She's laughing,
Yeah.
and,
Very giggly last night.
and for the first time when I hollered her name when I was coming up, she turned and looked. So that was a great process.
Yeah. And then hanging on to her bottle, and great grandpa fed her last night, which was kind of cool. I think that's first name was fed her.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Harley.
Oh.
She's more involved there.
Yeah.
First for me, I'm becoming Ari's second mom. I'm just taking her one person.
Ari has been with me for 2 weeks now. Not that crap happened this week. She just is terrified of everything. Hair being washed, bugs, a fly, she'll start crying and grabbing my head. You can't imagine. And I've had to scold her, I've raised my voice, and I absolutely hated myself for it. Because then I'll turn around and look at that little tiny thing. How could I ever get mad at this thing? But I could blow her up sometimes.
So can I give you just one little piece of advice that you can ignore? Aiden was terrified of bugs. My brother bought him a fly swatter. It was his very own fly swatter. He kept it with him probably a couple of weeks, but it gave him power over the bugs. And now he's not afraid of them anymore.
And she's been sleeping with Jeff and I, and Jeff's bent his back is horrible, so it's not a good thing. He sleeps with a big pillow. He's sleeping with nothing. A lot of reasons. And it's just, she's lying like literally on me. And she's scared. I bought her a bed at Goodwill for $5, and I created my own mattress because I didn't have one. She had to have it. So getting it home was a nightmare. It just gets into detail. She will not sleep in it. She's scared. Oh my gosh. So it's just been one thing after another. But I told her, I said, I give my life for you. There's nothing I won't do for you. Please trust me. It's just been real hard. But she's going back Wednesday, I believe, and I'm doing the best I can. It's crash course. I'm trying to do so good again. I do, yeah. I don't know. I've been in a crazy with this child. I don't.
just think that it would be a good idea for us to include in our prayer time this morning, prayers for all of the families of those who lost someone or they're still not found in the building that collapsed in Florida.
First, regarding insects, I would like prayers for the top of my head. Some of you may have noticed I have a large halo on the top of my head, and deer flies and mosquitoes that are now on it. They think it's their landing zone. On a more serious note, prayers for the community of Albion. There is still, or again, strife on our city council and other parts of the community over different narratives about who we are as a city, about what is owed to whom. But it's difficult to get things done right now at the city level. So prayers for this community that we continue to look for ways where we can come together for the things we have in common, and for what we can do to improve the quality of life for all people in the city.
I would like to say that the whole nation, that there's so much division. Political views. Okay. You can't hear it? No, I don't get it.
I wonder if, oh, there it goes.
I don't get it.
That was weird. Okay, yes,
I would like to
expand what Tam did
the
with
concept about division that's going on in the lives. I would like to expand that for the entire nation.
I might be getting kind of bad battery, I don't know what's going on, so.
So for those online, Karen would like to expand Tom's prayer for the entire nation, that we would learn to work together and get along with each other.
It shows it's on.
It shows us on. Did you want?
I could say something, but I promise today, I'm just going to sit.
You promised.
Prayers for Dwayne's unspoken opinions.
Yes,
On a Sunday that you got mentioned without permission in the sermon, and you still have to keep quiet. Life's not fair, Dwayne. Anything from you, Michael? No? Okay. Let's pray together. God, you've had humans on this planet for such a long time, and we still haven't learned how to live together in peace. Help us to be peacemakers, not voice silencers or people who tell others to be quiet and tolerate injustices and abuses, but real peacemakers who find ways to heal our differences, to celebrate our unique perspectives, honor each other, and live together in harmony. The problems in our communities reflect problems in our homes. The problems in our nation are just extensions of the problems we have getting along with our co-workers, our families. Help us, God. We've got a mess here. Help us to find a way to live together. We think of so many families who are dealing with grief. The families of the people lost in the building collapse in Florida are a huge reminder to us that there are many people who don't know where their loved ones are, or don't know whether they're dead or alive, and are living daily with that anxiety, that stress. Bring them comfort, dear God. Bring them a sense of peace, even in their unknowing. Help us to be more kind and more understanding, because we don't know how many of the people we interact with may be dealing with grief or uncertainty about their loved ones. We lift all those who are sick. We think especially of our own Barb and her ongoing struggle with cancer. We ask for your healing touch for her and all of your precious children. And we lift our graduates again, and we'll do it again and again. This transition time is so huge in their lives as they move from being children to mini adults. Those of us who've had lots of birthdays know it takes a lot more than graduating from high school to make us a real adult. Keep them safe while they navigate that transition. Guide them, speak loud, so that they'll hear your voice, trying to help them make the best decisions they can make. Our kids are all going off to advance their educations. Help them to take full advantage of the opportunities that are in front of them. Help them to learn and learn and learn, and turn that into a lifelong habit of being people who continuously learn. We think of those who don't have enough. We think of those who don't have safety, who don't have security. And we lift them to you also. Help us to be problem solvers, to be bearers of your light and your love. And to keep reminding us of how wondrous life is, even when we're aware of the sadness and challenges around us, that we can still celebrate the beauty that surrounds us as well. Thank you for nature. Thank you for breezes that remind us that your spirit is close. Thank you for season changes that remind us that all of life is constantly changing. Guide us always. Amen. It was the very night Jesus was about to be betrayed. He was gathered with the disciples in the upper room. He knew what was coming, and he invited Judas to that table as well. All of them were there. As they were sharing the meal, he took bread. He blessed it, he broke it, and he gave it to them and said, "This represents my body broken for you." He took the cup and poured and said, "This represents the new covenant in me. Whenever you do this in remembrance of me." This is not just Salem's table. This is God's table. The invitation is to all God's people, all of us. No matter who you are, no matter where you are on life's journey, whether you're here in person, whether you're someplace in cyberspace, whether you're going to watch a recorded video days or weeks from now, if you want to be part of this meal, you're included, you're invited. This is the gifts of God for the people of God. Let's pray with me. Gracious God, we ask for your blessing on the elements we are about to receive, that they will be physical reminders to us that we are connected with you and interconnected with each other throughout all time, throughout all space. That we share this meal with those who are present today, with those who were present at that first communion meal with Jesus in that upper room, with those who haven't been born yet, but someday will gather around a similar table somewhere. May we feel close to each other. May we feel close to you. May our spirits and our bodies be fed. Amen. Let's pray again. God, thank you for drawing us in. Thank you for feeding us. Thank you for caring for us. Empower us to carry this connection forward into all of our interactions in life. Amen. We're going to sing the hymn we didn't sing last week, Shadow and Substance. It is number 398 in the hymnal.
Since I think this is new to most of us, I'm just going to play just the melody through one time.
Okay, time for the Salem Family Circle.